Hello everyone and welcome back to Neopets, the Darkest Faerie. Today we are going to go off the beaten track and do some side quest and exploration stuff. Starting with going off one of my punches that I kinda had in the middle of recording the last video. You see, the way to actually get to the Urgy fruit area of the bogshot swamp near where the black bogberries were is actually to use the sinkholes, because apparently there are vines in that specific path. So I thought to myself, what if there was other vines that were in the sinkhole as well, in one of the other paths? Turns out there are in the left path. And if we go up those vines, turns out this is the way that we're actually supposed to get the Nova Mote. First time I'm actually been able to do this properly. So there, if you want a Nova Mote, there you go. New discoveries all around. Super excited. But anyway, before we do anything, we're going to be pretty much just doing a big round circle starting in Bogshot, and then we're going to end in Bogshot. But first up, we're going into Brightvale just to see that the duality of the guards still exists everywhere we go. Some are very happy that the clouds are starting to leave, and some are not so happy that the clouds are still around in other places. After we have liberated Bogshot, the dialogue in Brightvale does change a little bit. Some are scared, some want the purple clouds to come this way, and others are just kind of taking note of today's events. But it's really with dialogue like this, and really digging deep into this game, that's really had me on a different track when it comes to playing other RPGs, when it comes to talking to NPCs like this. For some reason, I'm going back and playing Final Fantasy X again for the 9th time, and I've gotten into talking with more of the NPCs around the towns and all throughout the story more than I thought I was going to than earlier playthroughs. Which I guess I have this game to thank for getting all the footage that I'm getting. Especially when it comes to, Jillian here. My goodness, this character has been written in such a way that is astounding to me. It's not just even with talking with Roberta, it's also with Tor as well, as we'll see pretty soon. Because again, in duality of children, we have one who is moping and the other one is very excited about action. The most cynical and pessimistic girl I've met in a very long time when it comes to video games. I just can't see the point in getting happy. I don't have much to say about that. Now, the main reason why we're heading back to Brightvale is just because we have to go and finish up the side quest of talking back with, Marion again. We talked with Marion, then we talked to Primrose, and now we have to talk to Marion again in order to finish off the chain. We get a silver neg for it, which is always helpful. I doubt we'll use it, but hey, it's there. Good for whatever I need it for. But there's also another reason why we're here. Turns out, if we actually head to the moat shop and talk with the store owner here, after we liberate Bogshot, we'll get another side quest. So Talwick here is a bit of, I wouldn't even say an amateur scientist. He definitely has a lot of time to ponder about certain things happening. He's really interested in what is making the clouds actually stick around. And with the idea that the Plague Serpent was around Bogshot in order to keep it consistent, well, he's wanting some extra information. So now that almost the entire world is open to us, we can go all the way over to Matara, back in Draken Ridge, and talk to her. And this pretty much just gives us not one but two reasons to go to Draken Ridge, because we have to get the metal in order to make our moon sword. We also have to get the poison seeds as well, but well, that's pretty close to where we actually are going to be going with, so I'll leave it for a little bit later. But now we can head across the Brightvale Bridge. And now we're back in Act 1 territory. Exciting. Now we have Roberta. Now, when it comes to Meridel Plain, a few things have changed. One is that it's now entirely purple. Two, a lot more enemies are here, especially this very specific enemy that we're fighting right now. This guy is very consistent in all the times that I've played through this game. There's always this one guy who has no name. Everybody else is like Minion Grunt, Minion Wizard, but it's just this one little warrior who just seems to not have a name programmed to himself. And I'm not sure why that is. Whether or not each enemy actually has individual programming on them depending on the location that they're supposed to be spawning in. Not even entirely sure. You'll also find that the enemies around Meridel Plains most of them are fire elemental. There are a couple of earth and wind elementals kind of floating around, but it's mostly going to be fire, and water moats are pretty much your go-to at this point. Freezing enemies in place in order to take them out, it's definitely going to help out. More stars! You're super starry now. Starry clothes, starry egg. Which is our final treasure for the Meridel Plains. But not the only treasure that we can actually get, because Gord also sets up shop here. He also will show up in the crossroads still, but he'll just travel around because we have a greater distance to travel. Now, he doesn't restock his cart, but he does restock on maps. Well, by restock, I mean that he has one additional map. But it's also a really, really good map to get. I highly recommend it, because he does say that it's probably worth more than the 300 Neo points you're investing in getting this map, and that's entirely true. You'll see why once we actually head back that direction. For now, we're actually just gonna head over straight into Draken Ridge instead of going straight through Meridel. You might be thinking to yourself, well, probably, no, that's probably a lie. What about Douglas? Because we're also in the area. Well, even though he might be purple and have the weird eye situation going on, if you still have the hunting quest from him, you can still do it. He isn't programmed differently as far as I can remember. Then again, we've gotten rid of most of the Dragon Axe, so he's still mad at me about that. But then again, hey, what do you know? We're Draconeck Fangs. I'll just keep them as a souvenir. I won't let Douglas know, I promise. Alright, Matara. Let's see how you're holding up amidst all of the purple clouds. Okay, apparently not well. She is a little loopy, let's just say that, but we do need to talk to her, which kind of breaks her disposition at this point. Apparently what she has to say for the purple clouds is that they have to do with the power of dreams. Apparently that's what the Darkest Faerie runs on. She does give us a supernova mote for actually talking to her about the situation, and then tells us to go back to Sir Talwick in order to pretty much finish up the quest. But her disposition is a little bit different. first, she cackles and dances around weirdly, and she also calls her motes little fireflies or pretties. But she's doing fine nonetheless. There is also the wizard's gown that's in her shop. We're gonna be getting that in due time, but not right now. For now, I'm going to be getting some light motes equipped to myself, because we're going to be heading into where that mine is, because now they have the key for it. It's this big, huge iron door that's kind of just inside the main tunnel of the Draken Ridge area. We're kind of fused together, weirdly enough, my Pepet and I. But welcome to the old mine. This is an area that can be elusive to a lot of people if you're not talking to NPCs. And you might notice that we have 4 out of the 9 treasures in the area already. I guess that the game also applies the treasure chests that are outside in the tunnels that are within Draken Ridge as part of the old mine counter, apparently. Because there is only 5 treasure chests in the actual old mine. And the other thing about the treasures that are in these chests are they're mainly motes. All kinds of motes, too. Everything from regular first level motes to Nova motes. So it's all depending on, well, your general luck for what happens when you open up a treasure chest. Now there's really only 2 things to write home about in terms of the old mine map, because it is fairly short. One is that it actually runs on a little bit of verticality in order to get to where we need to go in order to get the metal. The second thing is that it is crawling with undead. Dumb skeletons, skeleton fighters, and various flavors of wizard are going to be around, coming and crawling out of the ground in more ways than one. The verticality actually works against Roberta in some cases, because a lot of the times she'll try to attack either above or below her, depending on which level of the old mine you're on. So her targeting system kind of gets a little bit out of whack. The other thing is that if you're wondering if, hey, if I fight these enemies long enough, do they stop respawning? No, they actually don't. They will continue to respawn in their same areas as long as you are in the old mine. Pretty much made it just infinite when dealing with these guys. And I'm sorry, we have wizards, including this cowardly one right here. Hello? It's supposed to attack me, you know? You. So I can block it. Such a coward. But the other ones are archers. Okay, shadow mode, okay. Or dark mode, anyways. Darkness aligned. And the archers are really easy to deal with, as we've seen in the dungeon ruins. As one block of their spell back at them and they die. Sometimes dropping 100 Neopoints, which is always a good thing. I think it's about time. Nope, apparently it's not. We have more undead. Even more bones. So many bones. Kind of wonder why there are so many dead people inside of this old mine. Either that or they're Neopets from the moon who crashed here when the giant chunk of metal came down. The asteroid, anyways. Or the meteorite. Yeah, that was kind of an example right there. I was shooting straight up because an undead decided to be spawning right above me. Ay, ay, ay. There we go. Now we're inside, probably. Break through his defenses, please. Want to get this last chest. That should be it. For some reason there's grass that's growing in here. A little bit radioactive, but we do get our chunk of Kerluden metal. If we bring this back to Grimnar and Bogshot, we have ourselves a new sword. Simple as that. The animations for the skeletons, though, are really good. I have to say that. They do play up a lot of creativeness in order to actually make them fun to look at. Just readjusting their heads or doing, like, weird anatomy things because they're bones. It's always good. I like it. But it's also good to not outstay your welcome in a small map like this, because I could just be fighting undead as much as I can, because I could be fighting other things. Other things that are difficult to fight depending on the character that you're using. Artillery are easy to fight in close quarters, but when it comes to open areas like the plains, Tor is not the best thing, but he is fun when you are able to glitch them through the ground based on the river. Luckily, I am able to kill him based on just the residual hitbox of the third swipe of my sword. Except now we have to deal with these muscle boys. The big boys! They want to punch me. Over and over and over, and one of them wants to be, like, super cowardly. I just keep going backwards. Jeez. Come on, man. Fight me. Be a man! Or go into a rock, whatever. Fine, I'll find your brother. Doesn't matter with me. Oh, you coming out to play? Just, like, backswiped him and killed him. Sometimes with these fights you have to make your own fun. There we go. Now last thing I'll mention while I'm fighting my no-name warrior for the second time is that the fire wizards are actually a lot more fun to fight, because they do a lot more than their water cousins, who are really cowardly. The fire wizards either charge up their magic in order to make a fire pillar around you in order to give you residual fire damage. They also like spawning minion grunts, up to, I believe it's 2 at a time. I've never seen 3 at a time. They have low HP, but they're really annoying to fight, let's just say that. So as we head back on our way, we have a treasure chest to pick up from that map that we just got from Gord. And this is the reason why it's really good. It is loaded with Neopets like the other Western Brightvale map that we got as well. Like, I mean a lot. Like, between the two of them, we get over 8,000 Neopets out of them, so that is a good chunk of change to have. So with all that, we can head back to Brightvale and talk with Sir Talwick again. So this actually has an important piece of information that really isn't communicated very well, is that the monsters are created from historic monsters. So like Castralis and the Plague Serpent are somewhat connected. So you can kind of think of that when we're going into the other areas in order to be liberated, that something like that is going to happen as well. And for our reward, we got a starry nag if you weren't noticing that. And then the last stop on our list of side quests is actually to go back into the Steppe Plateau. It'll be a short jaunt because there's really not that much difference compared to last time, except for some enemy changes, like there's a lot of Draconex here, which fighting with Roberta is hit or miss, depending on how good your timing is. Because because the Draconax have a very quick dodge to them, it can be either really easy in order to take them down, or really hard, because they love jumping around so much. It leads to some fun animation. Let's just say that. But once you get to the top, where are we going to find those blooper seeds? Well, the other enemy that's actually on the Steppe Plateau is the flower monsters. And each one of them at the top carries a glooper seed. Defeat 4 of them, collect the 4 seeds. However, there are 5 flower monsters, so I guess they just kind of give you a grace monster to take down. There might have been issues at one point with the quest where one of them just wouldn't not drop them at all. Because there's this one over there in the corner as well. And if you defeat it first, it will also give you a seed. So now we can bring them back to Bogshot, as well as the medal, and we're good to go there. Is this our last time up on the Steppe Plateau? No, because there's still a treasure here that we don't have yet, which probably is going to be in the form of a map. Where we're going to get that map, I'm not entirely sure, though. I did indeed. It took a while. I did a whole bunch of running around in order to get all the stuff I needed before coming back to Bogshot, because pretty much after this point, I'm probably not going to come back to Bogshot ever. There's no more quests, I don't need to go to the swamp anymore, so thank you for the 750 Neopoints. I'm going to be on my way. Hopefully you get bigger, Hank. You're still green and terrible. But we're just going to laugh at you because you're really, really sick. Haha. But now time for what is really going to make all of this worth it. Now that we have that Kraluden medal, we can give it back to Grimnar, and through some really awkward text boxes, we'll get our new sword. A true Kraluden blade. Bread? Good lord. Let's get outside of the bonfire in order to really check out how cool this sword really is. It's good that we actually have it now. Yeah, it's a pretty nice blade. We're gonna have it for a good amount of time. And that's going to be it for side questing. We did a lot of traveling back and forth, and right now I think it's about time that we get our butts in gear and actually push the story forward just a little bit. See you next time, everyone, as we head back to Brightvale.